Hi, I'm Wendy from Shiny Happy World, and in this video I'm going to show you how I trim my blocks. So I like to cut my blocks for applique quilts a little bit bigger than I need them to be because that gives me a little bit of wiggle room in case I make a mistake. So what I'm going to show you here is how I trim the block down after I do the quilting and after I do the applique. So this is the block that we're going to work on. As you can see, it's one of my normal Quilt As You Go blocks. So I've got the back is batting, there's no backing on it yet. And I've done the quilting and I've done the applique and I've done all the outline stitching. Basically, I've done everything that I need to do except for sewing all the blocks together. So what I need to do at this point is trim it down to size. Now, these blocks finish at 10 inches square. That means after you sew all the blocks together on your quilt, what you can see is 10 inches. So that means that I need to trim it to 10.5 inches square so that I have a 1/2 inch seam allowance on every side of the block. And when I cut them to work with them, I cut them 11 inches square or even a little bit bigger sometimes, just so I have plenty of room to work with. I like that extra room. So to do this, to get a nice perfect square, we're going to use this special ruler. This is a rotary cutting ruler that is a square. This one is a 15-inch square. I like to have one that's bigger than my finished blocks. And what's nice about this one, if you look over in this corner, it starts with 1 in the corner and works its way down to 15 on both sides. And it has a really handy line down the diagonal. And you're going to see how we use that in just a minute. So I get this set up on my block and I want to be looking at these 10.5 inch lines because 10.5, remember, is what we're trimming it to. So I'm going to set this up on my block so that the 10.5 inch line is overlapping a little bit of the bottom of the dog because I want to make sure that I am cutting off so that I want to make sure that the applique of his body goes right up to the finished edge of the block. I don't want him to look like he's a decapitated dog. I want him to look like it's a profile picture of a dog. So I've got my 10.5 inch line at the bottom, cutting into the bottom of the dog, and I just want to make sure that I have it on the side, not going off the block. I need to have it on the block. So I've got a little bit of block going past the 10.5 inch mark there and going past the 10.5 inch mark at the bottom. The other thing I just want to check if we zoom out now is that I've got fabric to cut off on the side and on the top, because those are the first 2 cuts that I'm going to make, just the side and the top. So to cut these, I hold my ruler and I just cut off the side, pull that out of my way, and then I'm just going to kind of awkwardly reach around the camera and cut across the top. So now, if I pull away the ruler, I have perfectly straight sides and I've got a perfectly square corner up here in the top. So now I'm going to turn my block around so that that perfectly square corner is now down in the bottom left side. And I'm going to put my ruler back over there, and now I'm going to line up this diagonal point. Here's the 10 inch square and here's the 11 inch intersection. I want 10.5 to be right on that corner. And I'm going to check and make sure that it's square going up the one side, that it's right lined up on that line. And I'm going to make sure that it's lined up exactly on this line. So now I know that what's covered by the ruler is a perfect 10.5 inch square. And I'm going to make the same 2 cuts. I'm going to cut up the side. And I'm going to cut across the top. And now you can see that we have a perfectly square block. We've got perfect square corners on all 4 sides. It's exactly 10.5 inches square, and the body is cut off at the right along the bottom edge there. There's no floating cut that's going to be visible in your finished block. So that's it. That's how you cut a perfectly squared off block. You get perfectly square corners on all 4 corners, and it is exactly 10.5 inches square, which means that when you do that with all of your blocks, when you sew them together, everything is going to fit perfectly and your quilt top is going to look fabulous. I'm Wendy from Shiny Happy World. I'll see you next time.